So what I would like to get done today is to install the Be Cool radiator. Now this is an oversized custom radiator. I believe it's for the B body, but we'll see when we get this in here if it's going to fit within the frame rails or am I going to have to make modifications. I believe, I don't know if you can see these holes right there. I believe there are posts on the radiator that should go into it, but I may have to move the windshield washer. I took off some of the AC components and I'm probably going to have to make some modifications to the battery box, but I don't think that's a big deal. The battery I have in it does not take up that whole tray. So hopefully trimming and maybe making a welding on a lip or something like that will be good. So I'm going to remove the battery tray and see if it'll fit in between the frame rails and just kind of take it from there. Okay, so here is the mock-up. I have nothing bolted into place. I have everything kind of zip tied. I'm going to have to make new brackets for the top clamp because the Fury is different than the cross member is a lot different. Like you can see that the radiator sits high, but the difference is right here, there's a post at the bottom. So I have to drill a hole into the front cross member. You can kind of see it, I think. See the stud. So that I have to drill a hole there in the front support. And then this will drop 1.25 inches, which is roughly this size right here. So I just kind of have it bungee corded in place and zip tied so that nothing bounces around. And I don't scratch the radiator because it's in really good shape. But as you can see, I have pretty much the same amount of clearance on here than I did the same amount of clearance as I did with the Fury. So, and if I really needed to, I could probably redo the cross member, but I think I have plenty of room, so I'm not gonna mess with cutting anything up on this car that I don't have to cut up. So this is really good news because, this is like, I've had a number of surprises on this build with the transmission and having to do the tunnel and stuff like that. Then some surprises with the fuel lines that just everything is different on this car. So it's really nice to have this one step not be super difficult. This is actually easier than installing it in the Fury, which I had more modifications I had to make. Even though that car is super wide, I had to do modifications to the inner wheel fender. So this is great. The battery box is just going to need to be trimmed a little bit to go around. I need to plug off my cooling lines because I don't have an automatic transmission anymore, and relocate the water pump. Right? Yeah, that's supposed to sit way down low. So I'm probably going to have to put that in between, like right there. That shouldn't be too bad. And yeah, and this should be kind of ready to go. And then after this, the only thing I really need to do is wire up the Holly Sniper, which the interior is still empty. I do have to remove the rear seats, but I also need to do that to give some support to the exhaust muffler. Right now, they're just kind of baling wired up. So I'm going to reinforce the back seat area so that I can put some studs and put a bracket that will hold the muffler in a solid position. So this is great. Moving on, I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes and get the radiator sitting where it needs to be and get it mounted. I mean, fingers crossed this gets done today. All right, so I drilled the holes and brought it down. It's, looking really good here. Then I thought, well, let me make sure this or this isn't hitting the roof as I close it. So I have a little dab of grease just to see if it's touching. you know, it should be hitting that stop right there. So it hits, it's all the way down. If I lift it, I do not have any grease on the roof, hood, top. So that's good. So it is hitting the stop, which is exactly what I want. And I don't have any clearance issues. So now I'm gonna make the brackets that will fasten everything to, so I don't have to use bungee cords. All right, so this has been the most productive day in this whole process. That this thing went together pretty quickly. I drilled the holes. I used the original brackets that came with the radiator. I could not use those with the Fury, but I had to straighten out a bend. But other than that, these things worked great. So they kind of clamp onto here. And then I used the original clamps that I had built for the Fury. So this clamp holds the fan, this clamp holds the radiator, and same for the other side. I don't know if I'll keep it this way. It's not as pretty as I would like it to be, but right now I need to get this thing to where I can start it and drive it, and then I'll worry if it bothers me to make it pretty. So anyway, I'm gonna hook up the hoses and check this one off the list. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do, I've finished the fuel line from the gas tank to the Holly Sniper. So I have an in-tank fuel pump, and that is all connected and ready to go. Now, originally I had it connected to the back of the Holly Sniper, but because I was doing the double flare fittings and doing a little bit of filing and stuff like that to kind of clean up burrs and stuff like that, and using a flat file to make the end straight, that I wanted to kind of flush the line a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I hooked up a hose with a barb fitting, and then I just have it going to this gas tank, and I'll show you what I got over here. I hooked a wire up. This would normally be the relay for the Holly Sniper, and I know that because this is the blue line that goes to the fuel pump. So while I wired that up, and then it's grounded to the frame, so I have the ground set up. So I should be able to connect this to the battery and basically just start the pump, and then the pump's gonna push some of the fuel into the tank, and I know things are flowing good, and any garbage that's in the line is gonna go. So let's see how this goes. Well, would have thought I would have had fuel by now. Try it again. This connection was getting hot. Oh. Okay, there's some drips going. Let's try it again. Maybe I just didn't wait long enough. Okay, you can see that it is pouring. So that's good. So I'm just gonna run it a little bit more. I don't know if I can put that like that. So we got a nice flow, and any garbage that's going to come out is going to leave. Okay. So I will disconnect this and hook it back up and consider this line good. I don't know if I should also do the return. I could do this whole process again on the return line and flush it before it gets returned back into the tank. It's probably a good idea. Okay, so one of the things I needed to do is I need to move this pedal over a little bit. It's hitting when I press the clutch, it will hit the studs that hold the master cylinder on. So my plan is to just kind of, tweak it. I don't know if that'll stay. I don't know how I got it to stay before. But to tweak it this way a little bit and then bring it back straight, giving me like a 1/4 inch maybe of extra space. So I'll get that going. I'm sure there's a more civilized way to do this, but this is what I'm going to try. I got a crescent wrench with the cheater bar, and I just want to get a little. Sure, I'm going the right way. Yeah, so it's like that. I want to go that way, so I want to come back. Yep, I had it right. All right, so I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. Try a little lower. Okay. So hopefully you can see just kind of over a little bit. So now if I just straighten it out, I should be in good shape. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so you can. I think you can kind of see that. Well, my messy garage is. Let's go by the door. So hopefully you can kind of see that it has just a little bit of a S to it. Still should come out straight, and hopefully won't hit the bolts. Okay, so I got the pedal back in, and this is kind of what I was hoping for. Just a nice. Clears the bolts, goes all the way to the floor. Sorry about that. I'll probably end up trimming the bottom bolts anyway, because otherwise the carpet's going to stick up, but I'm calling this good. All right, so I'm down to the last few little things. Most important, the neutral safety switch. I tried turning the key and it won't try to turn over. So I'm pretty sure it's because I don't have the ignition, used to have the neutral switch for when it was automatic. So I need to duplicate that. And so then looking at the documentation, this is that. And basically, they're saying what you can do is it's a naturally open circuit that gets closed when it's in neutral. So if you run a line from your ignition through one pin, out the other, and go to the starter relay, then you will solve that problem. So other than that, you would just try to, somehow tap into I'm pretty sure it's the automatic transmission just has one wire that connects, so it grounds somewhere. I don't know. I'm going to try to do what they said to connect to the ignition and go to the starter relay. So I'll start wiring now. Okay, so I left off yesterday with a little bit of an issue. I figured out my wiring issue, which I'm still looking at this. So when I said the neutral safety switch is that it could be spliced into your starter circuit between your ignition switch and the starter solenoid if you choose. I was thinking that was the typical neutral switch on an automatic transmission or a park neutral situation. But then the more I read on the starter switch, the brown wire is a switch to ground. So I think I had that wired up wrong. It got me kind of confused because this is a 74, and 74 has that federal mandate where you have to have the seatbelt. So it has that weird seatbelt switch, which I know where it is. It's sitting right there behind, right next to the battery. Similar to the ones that are on A bodies, but there is no override switch. So I didn't know if my problem was related to I don't have the seats in it yet, so none of that stuff is hooked up. But I used my voltmeter, and I could tell that everything was working okay, except I think the ground. So I hooked up a temporary wire from on the starter solenoid and just grounded it, and now everything works fine. So once I change that brown wire so that it's a switch to ground, I think I should be good. So I was able to get it to fire yesterday, but it was only for a few seconds because I noticed I wasn't getting oil pressure, and I panicked and I shut it off, and I'm glad I did. This morning, I removed the distributor right there and hooked up I took out the oil gear that's in there, and then I went straight with a 5/16 Allen wrench that's long, and I can connect to a drill, and spun it counterclockwise and had someone in the car checking for oil pressure. At first it wasn't doing anything, and then all of a sudden it started working. So I don't know if there was something weird going on, but it appears to be working now. And I just started it with the relay removed so that it's not getting any fuel, and it'll just kind of crank over, and I could see that I was getting oil pressure. So I'm going to put the relay back in and see if I can get it started and see if it'll run. I know the timing is going to be all messed up because I did remove the distributor a couple times, but mainly for to remove the engine out of the Fury. So it's close, but it's probably going to run like garbage for a bit until I get I don't know if when you disconnect the Holly Sniper for, weeks, does it lose its memory? Does it remember? Don't know. So I did run through a little bit of the setup just to see, put it back in as a 440 with 8 cylinders and blah, blah, blah. There's the quick fields they ask. So let's see what happens. I'll shut it down again if I don't see any oil pressure, but I think I might have that problem solved. Wish me luck. To be timing, because it's literally the only thing I changed. So okay, let's try this one more time. I did find one wire or two wires that I had in the wrong spot, I believe, but we'll find out here in a minute. Okay, I did get it to idle enough that I started messing with the timing, and as you probably all expected, I was way off. So I'm gonna start it again and then play with the idle again. Well, this has been a good day. All right, it is time. I'm so excited about this. I'm even willing to show my face on the video. I know I have a face for radio. Boom. Anyway, I've got it together enough. I need to take a shakedown run. So that's what this is all about. It's in the afternoon during a weekday. I'm just gonna see what happens. And the interior is still not in it. The exhaust isn't complete. It's with wire hangers or baling wires kind of holding it together. But I just want to make sure I can get it into gear. I can go in reverse. Everything kind of works, and I can go around the block. If I can do that, then this will be a success. So wish me luck. All right, here she is, dirty and dusty from 4 months worth of work on her. As you could probably hear, reverse isn't going well. I need more travel in the clutch. It's grinding. It needs more clutch movement, like even when I was in first, as soon as I started the lift. So I think I need to bleed the clutch a little more to get that to work. But I mean, it still has dirt from Cam's old house, his road going to his previous home. So yeah, as you can see, I don't have the rear valance on. I don't want to put it on if I'm going to have to drop the tank again. If I have fuel related issues, I mean, that's what the shakedown run's all about. So let's give it a shot. I should be able to roll down the driveway without having to put it in reverse, and it goes into first gear fine. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so waiting for my neighbor to leave because I don't want to back up into him. But yeah, let's Yep. torsion bars are much different from a small block to a big block. I could see theoretically, it doesn't really change the height right now, so I didn't touch any of that stuff, and it kind of rides the same now that everything's put back together. But I don't know if it's going to be floppy, you know, like the with the small block torsion bars. Is it going to be raise up too much and just kind of bounce? I don't know, we'll have to see. Okay, made it. Here's a shot of the interior. So I haven't put the carpet back, but I did put some PR15 in the front and the back. Just on this side. I still got to do the other side, but also I think that shifter might be a little too high, but let me know what you think.